You know, I really didn't play a lot of new games this year, but it was the most amount of games I've ever played that were released in a single year, that number being 5. So today in this video, we'll be looking at my personal 5 favorite video games released in 2016. Number 5. Postal Redux. This game, as you could probably guess by its title, is a remake of the original Postal, which was released nearly 20 years ago. Now, normally, I wouldn't put a remake on these kinds of lists since, they've already been released before. But since this game was remade many years after its initial release and features a huge graphical improvement, well, at least compared to the original anyway, I decided to give this one a pass. Now, even though this is a remake of a game that has already been released, it still offers many new features that the original didn't have, such as the new Rampage mode, which is a mode where you rack up points by killing as many people as you can. To get a higher score, you need to kill as many as you can in succession to keep the multiplier up. Another recently added feature is multiplayer, which the original game did have, but it wasn't very popular. And just like the original game's multiplayer, this one is pretty dead too. But looking past that, this is actually a really solid remake of a game that was originally made to shock those who are blaming real-world tragedies on video game violence. Number 4. Pokemon Sun and Moon. When I first heard the announcement for this game, I kind of just brushed it off and paid no attention as I had lost interest in the series after Generation 3. But one morning I woke up with an urge to play the game I cared so little about. 1 month later, I had finally gotten the game. And the moment I heard that familiar tune at the main menu, I knew I made the right choice. Now, unlike the last 2 Pokemon games I had played before this, Silver and Sapphire, this game actually starts off pretty slowly with an excessively long tutorial which drags on longer than it should have, even though I feel it does do a great job at teaching newcomers to the series how to play. But that one qualm doesn't make me like this game any less than the other great games I've played in the franchise. The game features probably my favorite selection of starters next to Gen 1 and 2's choices. As usual, I chose the Fire starter when this game was the Fire Dark type, Litten, who in my second day of playing had already evolved into its final evolution, Incineroar. So yes, this game does go by rather quickly thanks to the experience share, but that's the way I liked it, as I always hated grinding in the older games. In this entry to the series, however, a lot of things were changed from the original, as the gems, which were replaced by these things called trials, which you have to complete certain tasks until you can face off against the totem Pokemon, which are essentially the gem leaders in this game. While these trials weren't nearly as fun as the gems from previous games, they were still a blast to play, and I'm glad that they were here for this entry in the series. Number 3. Stardew Valley. I first saw this game in my Steam recommended section. I didn't click on it then because at the moment I was rather busy and only had Steam open for a short time. But a few months later, when I was watching the YouTube user ProJared's review of the game, I instantly bought it. I had no idea this game was a Harvest Moon inspired title, but if I did, I would have bought it the day I saw it in my Steam recommended section. So like Harvest Moon, this game is about farming, or more specifically, the life of a farmer. But this game features much more than just that. There's fishing, cave exploring, crafting, creating tools, socializing, and even starting your own family within the community. And because of the number of things you can do at the beginning, I sunk nearly 100 hours into the game only after a few weeks of playing. Well, after a while it does get repetitive and NPCs start saying the same things, and you start getting the same quests to do. It's still a blast to come back to after playing the other games, which is why this is one of my favorite games of the year. Number 2. Overwatch. I'm almost certain nearly every top countdown of 2016 has Blizzard's first-person shooter on their lists, but rightfully so. This game is addictive. When I first got this game, I played from 9 PM until 4 in the morning, and when I woke up from my short period of resting, I played all day the following day as well. This game features a wide cast of heroes to choose from, each with their own abilities, strengths, and weaknesses, and each of those heroes are cleverly designed from the super intelligent gorilla Winston to the professional StarCraft 2 champion Diva. While the game modes and some of the mechanics are derivative of that of Valve's Team Fortress 2, it's still really fun to play and has taken away a lot of my time. But even though the game is great, there is one thing that just hurts: the community. Now, every online game has bad players on its servers, fair enough, but the rotten apples in Overwatch are just obnoxious and sometimes infuriating. From shunning you because you died a few more times than they did, to people telling you to kill yourself because you chose a certain hero, this is definitely one of the worst parts of the game. But when you're able to ignore the sometimes terrible community, it offers some of the best multiplayer experiences I've ever had, which is why it's one of my favorite games of the year. Number 1. Highway Blossoms. That's right, my favorite game of the year's visual novel. And to put it after Overwatch. Fight me, you bunch of chads! But in all seriousness though, this is just one of the greatest games I've ever played, or read in this case. The characters are well designed and very memorable, the narrative is greatly written and had me hooked, so much so I often couldn't sleep sometimes, anticipating what would happen the next time I play. The game should only take you around 6 hours to read through, though it took me 12 as I had to start over at one point in the story, as my original footage had been corrupted. But those hours you spent reading this amazing visual novel are more than worth it, with the game actually making me shed tears at one point in the story, the first game I've ever played to do so. It was also the first game I've managed to acquire all the achievements in, even though that isn't really hard to do, as all you'll be doing in this game is clicking. And yes, I even got this one. But even though I finished this, I'm still not entirely done with the Highway Blossoms series, as the creators are currently working on a light novel for the game surrounding the escapades of Joe, Tess, and Mariah. And outside of Highway Blossoms is the team's next visual novel, Human Reignition Project, which I will definitely be playing on this channel. But back to Highway Blossoms, the game is just so well written and powerful, which is why it gets the #1 spot of my favorite game of the year, and possibly my favorite game in general, and I hope everyone watching this will get the game for themselves and read through it, even if you already have watched a playthrough of it by a certain long-haired weeaboo. Oh, and by the way, the next 2 episodes of that will be put out soon. Thank you all for watching my countdown to the end. And though 2016 was a great year for me, I can't wait for what 2017 holds for all of us. And for those of you watching, I wish you all a very happy new year.